The Mavericks get the job done, so to speak, as they fall to the Memphis Grizzlies at home. We'll break it down coming up here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs. Appreciate you joining us here on our post-game show as the Mavericks fall 122-111 at home to the Memphis Grizzlies, extending their losing streak to 4 games as the Mavericks fall to now an even 500 at 32-32 after 64 games and now 19-14 at the American Airlines Center. Brandon Williams had 31 points on the night on 10 of 15 shooting, but Ja Morant's 24 points in the second half was too much for the Dallas Mavericks on this night in what was a competitive game, but ultimately a loss for this team. We'll break it all down here for you over the course of the next hour. We'll be joined live at the American Airlines Center from our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato and also our national NBA insider Marc Stein a little bit later on in our show. But Bobby, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and his fantastic rebounding for the Memphis Grizzlies, just too much once again on this night for Dallas.
Yeah, the Mavs had 9 guys. One of them was on a minutes restriction and making his debut with the team. The other one is a veteran who only played 8 minutes. So they played basically this entire game, who was also their only active center. So they played almost this entire game without a center, going up against a Memphis team with Zach Edey and Brandon Clark and a bunch of guys that are taller than most of the Mavs. And it's going to be this way for probably the rest of the year. And so, you know, we've kind of alluded to it over the last few days here, KG. And yesterday's vague-ish, but I think tellingly vague update on Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. I think that lets us know that we should be preparing for an uncomfortable final few weeks. And so here's my advice for you. Grab your hard hat, grab your camo, grab some binoculars, grab some non-perishable food items, and go ahead and open the roof of the nearest tank, hop right in, close that thing, lock it, because you don't want anyone breaking in, dropping a grenade in there to ruin it for you, and just go ahead and slide that thing on right down the icy street, because this is going in that direction. I do not believe the Mavs are going to win many more games this season, KG. I don't want to be a doomer right off the rip, but Biggs ain't coming back, and Memphis was sleepwalking through most of this game and still won by 11. So, you know, that would be my advice to you.
Yeah, this game was gross on a number of fronts. I mean, you look at just the fourth quarter alone, the Mavericks outscored 33-17 in that fourth quarter. We'll get to how that happened specifically when it came to Ja Morant. But you look at some of the numbers from this game. The Mavericks shot 38.5% from the field. They shot 36% from the three-point line. Memphis shot 38% from three on only 21 attempts. And they shot 47% overall from the field. But you're right. There's not enough bodies. There's not enough talent. The bigs are not going to be making their return. We had the soft launch of Anthony Davis not going to be playing for the rest of the regular season earlier this evening if you were watching ESPN. So, look, and coupled with the update, as Bobby mentioned a little bit earlier today, this team is careening toward non-competitive basketball for the next, now, what will be 36 days. As they now fall to 32-32 on the season. They still remain a couple of games ahead of the Phoenix Suns, who are in action as we speak as they take on the Denver Nuggets.
Those guys can't win either.
No, but they will have a chance to do so on Sunday because they come right here on Sunday to take on the Dallas Mavericks. So they may have a chance to get themselves in position to do so coming up here in the next few days. I do want to accentuate a couple of positives tonight. Give credit to Brandon Williams. I mean, Brandon Williams, 31 points, 10 of 15 shooting tonight, continues to show that he is an NBA player, had 17 points in the first half, and was able to give them a lift from a scoring standpoint. Naji Marshall, big double-double tonight. He had 29 points and 17 rebounds for him, trying to do a little bit of everything for Dallas in a game that was tied at what was 108 with 4 minutes left. You obviously saw what happened down the stretch with the Grizzlies outscoring the Mavericks 14-3 in the final 4 minutes of the game. Just simply too much, not enough shot making when the Mavericks needed it most. But I thought Brandon Williams was a positive tonight, Bobby, given the opportunities that he's going to get down the stretch. Continues to make the most of them, and had by far, I thought, his best game as a Dallas Maverick here.
Yeah, he played well. I mean, he's a pretty smooth ball handler, and he can create a shot. I wouldn't say he's like a consistent 3-level scorer at the NBA level or anything, but he can shoot, he can drive, he can finish. He's fearless, he's confident, he has belief in himself. He's got change of pace, change of direction, change of speed. He's a good player. I mean, he's not very tall, he's not very thick. We saw Ja, who's got a 3 or 4 inches of height, I think, on him, go at him down the stretch, and Ja got the better of him there. But I mean, Brandon Williams had a pretty good game, and I saw someone tweet this, and I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry if you're out there and you see this. Hey, give yourself a pat on the back. But they asked, is there anything that Jaden Hardy does better than Brandon Williams? And Jaden Hardy is probably going to be out for a really long time. We might not see him again for the rest of the year, or maybe ever as a Mav. But Brandon Williams, who I believe this is his last year of eligibility as a two-way player, is fighting for his NBA future. And even though Hardy is still, I think he's like 3 years younger than Brandon Williams. I mean, Brandon Williams is still pretty young. He's only in his mid-20s. So he's still got a chance to stick around in this league. And I mean, if nothing else, I'm looking forward to watching him play because he is fun to watch.
Yeah, and for him having a really nice night tonight with the 31 points that he had. You mentioned Jaden Hardy in terms of the injury that he's dealing with. Of course, we came into tonight's game learning that Olivier Maxence Prosper has been lost for the rest of the regular season with a right wrist injury, ligament damage as being reported that will require season-ending surgery. So another hit to this Mavericks rotation that was severely shortened already coming into tonight's game. You give them credit for competing the way that they did, but this is what it feels like is going to be a theme over the next several weeks, is that this team is going to continue to fight, play competitive, it seems like, on a lot of nights, but ultimately succumb to the talent that the other team is going to have on most nights. In fact, after the game on Sunday, when they take on the Phoenix Suns, the Mavericks will play 8 of their next 10 games on the road. So not only will they not have the ability to play at home, but obviously they will be playing some teams that are still fighting for playoff positioning in and of themselves. And this could be the start. I mean, we're already in the start of it getting that much more difficult for this team to find wins, because playing 8 of 10 on the road after the game on Sunday, it's hard enough to win games as it is. But then going on the road for a lot of these games, unfortunately, it could get that much uglier here coming up in the next couple of weeks here for this team.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of travel and a lot of minutes for these guys.
Yeah.
A lot of minutes. Dinwiddie had his wrist taped. Naji banged knees with somebody. Clay was limping for a little while there. I think it was either in the second quarter or the third quarter. There's nowhere to hide, though. Like, if those guys get banged up, the Mavs will literally have to forfeit games. Like, they're really, really banged up. And so, whether a guy is, trying to shrug off some bruises or going through a shooting slump or anything, I mean, you're going to play a lot, and there's a lot of plane rides. There's going to be a lot of late nights. There's going to be a lot of early mornings. There's going to be a lot of travel, which is, even though they travel in good conditions, it's still hard on your body. Being on an airplane dehydrates you, so if you're ever on a plane, make sure you drink a lot of water. It's just, and it is hard to not to do the victim thing, but like, is it really all that hard to believe that the Mavs were the most snake bit injury team in the league this year, considering that they played 4 home games during a 41-day stretch? Like, this team has traveled a lot all year, it feels like, and so it's just kind of that is kind of case in point. The more you travel, the more likely it is you're going to get hurt.
Let's get to a super chat we've already got on the evening so far. We'll come back to that one. Yeah. Because it goes well with what Bobby mentioned just a few moments ago about filling up that tank. From Will Flock Nation. Sup, fellas? Kid knows Dinwiddie is a tank commander.
Got the job done. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, because Spencer shot him out of it in that fourth quarter down the stretch. And he did exactly what he was supposed to do. We had a super chat also from our pregame show that came in at the buzzer.
We did.
That we weren't able to get on the show, but we want to make sure that we read it here on our postgame show. Shout out to Douglas Kennedy with the $7.77 super chat.
Dwight Powell and Luka.
That's true. All right.
2 Mavs legends.
That's right. Kind of hard not to believe in some karma for Nico we're enjoying. I mean, first of all, I'm not enjoying any of this. If I'm not enjoying watching any of this when it comes to the kind of basketball that's being played. And number two, to the point of the super chat, as someone who talks about sports for a living and has watched a lot of sports for a long time, when organizations handle the business the way that the Mavericks have over the course of the last, month plus here, organizations know no peace when they handle business the way that they have. And unfortunately, from an injury standpoint to the way that things have looked on the floor, every day someone is talking about the trade or talking about how things have been handled by the team, true or untrue. This organization has known no peace at all since February 1st at 11:12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And until the final buzzer strikes on April 13th, when they see Memphis again at the American Airlines Center, there will be no peace until that buzzer sounds and everyone can kind of get away and reflect on what has been one of the most difficult seasons, obviously not just in franchise history, but one of the most insane seasons that we've seen from an NBA franchise probably in the last 25 years. Because I can't think of the calamity of things that have happened for a franchise in the short span that they have happened in for this team, and not think that this is one of the most devastating months that we've seen in the sport, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's been really tough. It's been really, really tough. I do want to respond. Alan says the Mavs aren't in the top 5 in games lost due to injury, but go off. That is true. They're not top 5 in games lost, but they are top 1 by far in. There's basically like a statistical representation of player value. So essentially, it's like weighting. If like an all-star caliber player misses one game, it counts as more than if, for example, like a two-way guy or the 15th man on a team or whatever misses a game. And the Mavs, even more than the Magic, which is stunning to me because like Franz and Paolo and Jalen Suggs have all been out basically all year. And
Suggs is out for the rest of the year for them.
Yeah, but the Mavs still rank ahead of them, and that's only going to widen because it's, Kyrie's not playing again, and it's very likely that AD won't play again, or if he does, it'll only be a few games. And so, it's going to – unfortunately, there's a chance, KG, that the Mavs will get from Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis combined this season just 23 out of a possible 82 games.
Wow.
And I guess it could even be more than 82. I don't know how many games they played whenever they made the trade. But at any rate, AD will have played one game, not even all of one game.
Not even all of one game.
And then Luka will have played 22 games and not even all of 22 because he left that Minnesota game early. So, there are like statistical measurements based on like quality of player that's out. And the Mavs are lapping the field in that category this year, which, again, even more than like the Magic, than the Thunder who've been without Chet. Like, they're having this historically good season, and yet one of their best players still isn't.
Yeah,
has hardly played. Like, it's just unbelievable. But the Mavs this has been a brutal year for the Mavs.
And to your point, Luke, you're right. I mean, the Mavericks have been injured since the preseason. I mean, it started with Luka Doncic and the calf injury that he was dealing with, and then obviously Dante Exum dealing with the wrist injury that kept him out for the first 45, 46 games of the season. And from there, it has just been a number of injuries. Even Kyrie Irving dealing with back injury and everything else that has gone on for this season. Yeah, this has been a injury-riddled bunch, no matter who is here and who is not here now at this particular point. So after what was an incredible finals run last year, this team has gone completely in the other direction, not even including, obviously, the trade that shocked the NBA world. Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, what the turning point of this game was and moving forward, the Mavericks and what they do next as they get ready to take on the Suns on Sunday. And a little bit later on, our Mavericks beat Tim Cato and National NBA Insider Marc Stein will be joining us on our show. But first, let me talk to you about Shady Rays. If you want to hide your eyes from this basketball that you're watching right now for the Mavericks, you definitely need a pair of Shady Rays. And you can get ready for the season with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all of your outdoor adventures. Hundreds of options to choose from as well, so you're bound to find the perfect pair that matches your style. They may even have a pair in your team's favorite colors as well. Exclusively for our listeners here at DLLS Sports, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the Rays shaded. These Shady Rays rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, head to shadyrays.com and use code DLLS for 35% off your polarized sunglasses today.
They're great sunglasses.
They are.
Well, KG, it was a rough night for me on the Sleeper app.
And clearly for me on that read.
Yeah. Ja got me 20 points and then some. Clay got 15 points. That's exactly what he was on the money.
On the money.
So he knew the assignment. Caleb Martin, though, my guy, you got to make a 3. All I needed was half of a 3.
Actually, just take one
to
give yourself a chance.
He had one in the corner, but he passed it up. But you know what? That's no matter, because you can put your ball knowledge to the test every single night on Sleeper by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less in their projected stats. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. The app will also keep you in the loop on the latest news, the latest transactions, the latest injuries. Unfortunately, I've gotten a lot of alerts about the Mavs this year from the Sleeper app. Hopefully not as many next year. If you think you have what it takes, though, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Mavs to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Check out Sleeper today.
Mavs fall 122-111 to Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant scores 24 of his 31 points in the second half as the Grizzlies use a 14-3 run the final 4 minutes of tonight's game to win it, sending the Mavericks to an even 500 after 64 games. Let's go out to the American Airlines Center right now and welcome in our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato.
A gloomy scene in Club Cato tonight.
Yeah, they shut the club down early tonight at the American Airlines.
It was an early tip-off, too. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm in the back room because when I came to my normal club lighting, the radio was still playing overhead. So I come to the back room where it's a little bit quieter, but they've now shut it off. So I could just walk out there right now. Mm-hmm. I'm all set up though.
It's also, cool to stay in the back though, because that's where the real deals go down, you know?
I guarantee you Donnie Nelson has been in this room. You know what room I'm in?
It's in the whatever the lounge is called. It used to be the old number 7.
Yeah. The back room there.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you Donnie Nelson has been on a phone call and done a deal in here.
I've seen him be on the phone in that room before. So yes.
Okay. Well, this is more important.
You're right. This is much more important. Ja Morant incoming just too much down the stretch. 14-3 run in the final 4 minutes of this game after the game was tied at 108. And I think what will be a theme over the next several weeks, too much talent on the other side for the Mavericks to deal with their shorthanded nature, which they've got going right now.
I mean, for 3 quarters, Ja Morant was the Mavericks' best player. But
he was.
Talent won out in the end, and Jason Kidd said he thought the team kind of ran out of gas, said everybody played hard. The other notable thing, he was asked about the 2-way contracts. He said that's absolutely a discussion they're having about how many games they have left. Brandon Williams, I believe, has 9. Kessler Edwards has 7. When Kai Jones gets back, he also has a limited number. But it's going to be tough. And he said, yes, it's a discussion they're having about how many games are left, but right now it's not really a discussion. And, he's right. They don't have enough bodies for it to be a discussion. You got to play the guys that you have out there. So that was the gist of what Kidd said. Brandon Williams talked. He said that, he's a very he sticks with typical sports cliches. Got no problem with that. He said he took what the defense gave him, But I did ask him if he saw the defense and the coverages kind of adjust to him as he was just going off for a career night. And he said he saw that to an extent, that they were guarding him a little bit differently as he proved that he was the most dangerous offensive threat on the Mavericks. He said that when Naji Marshall missed the dunk and then one possession later, he got his redemption. It was because Brandon Williams got a steal, took it down, tossed it to Naji in the fast break, and Naji was screaming his name the entire way down. Naji had also missed that same dunk. The one he had missed that same dunk in warm-up. So probably good for Naji to get that redemption. Very, very kind of Brandon Williams to give it up to him. And yeah, Naji also said he was tired on the missed dunk. That's the only explanation he gave. This was his career high, but he said his all-time career high is 54 points in high school against PG County, Kevin Durant's home county. Not like an all-star game either, like a competitive rivalry game. Since Naji grew up in the area about 30 minutes away, so that's the gist of the player and coach quotes from tonight. Well, one more. The second challenge. Have you guys ever seen that before?
The second challenge.
So
there was a one that
Kidd
was like not really covered on the broadcast. So
Yeah.
it kind of play just sort of like resumed out of a break.
Okay. So let me tell you what happened then. So Caleb Martin was called for a foul on Ja. And Ja did a really weird thing where he like hovered and tried to draw contact and then tried to finish, but Caleb Martin really didn't touch him. What the challenge was announced as is that Ja Morant attempted to draw contact, and thus the call was reversed. So Ja Morant was going to be going to the line for 2 free throws because he missed the layup. However, Brandon Williams swooped into the play and put the ball back in. And so the official ruling was that the challenge was correct, the foul was rescinded, but because when the whistle went, that Brandon Clark was in the act of putting the ball back in, was in the shooting motion, it switched from Ja Morant going to the line for 2 free throws to a made Brandon Clark putback.
Oh, wow.
Baseline out of bounds for Dallas. So in fact, and I asked Jason Kidd about this, because I've just out of pure curiosity, I've never seen this happen before. He said that it had to do with the whistle. If the whistle had been instant, it would have been imminent possession for Memphis. But because the whistle happened as Brandon Clark was in the midst of a putback layup, they awarded a dead ball layup, gave the ball back. And so in a weird way, and to be clear, I am curious about the curiosity of this. I don't think Jason Kidd did anything wrong. But in effect, they went from giving a okay free throw shooter 2 shots to giving them 2 points by challenging that. Just a bizarre sequence.
So was he credited with an offensive rebound and a bucket?
And a putback, yes.
And it was a successful challenge.
And it was a successful challenge, but it was
Wow.
their second.
Wow.
Yeah. We were wondering, me and Nick from Locked On, we were wondering, and what I was telling him was imminent possession should give Memphis a layup here, because they should win the challenge, and it should. That's what I was thinking should happen, and that's what did happen. But I didn't think there was any scenario where that's the way the coach's challenge should actually play out.
So then what do you think would have
play
happened if, let's say, Brandon Clark gets the rebound, but then hears the whistle and then goes up for like a windmill dunk or something and misses it? Like he's just like, kind of like dicking around, and it bounces like 30 feet in the air out of bounds. Is that Mavs ball? Are they going to rule that an official field goal attempt? Like, I feel like we can really go down the rabbit hole here.
Yeah, so I also was going down this rabbit hole in my head, and I was thinking every single time in this situation, although I guess NBA players are never going to know whether a shot's going to be challenged or not, but there is like a tiny bit of motivation to always follow up in and around the whistle
Play through the whistle.
I guess realistically, that's not something that an NBA player is going to have enough. It's too bang of a play typically for that to ever play out.
Well, yeah, I mean, Luka would always throw up like 80 footers after whistles.
Yeah,
like, just
in case. Yeah, just in case.
Right.
Well, just to have
fun.
it
was just bizarre.
I mean, but also if they happen to just go on and with the continuation, I mean, he makes it. I mean, that's extra. It's still the idea of like play through the whistle if you're the player, because you never know when it's going to actually. But it sounds like in the way you describe it, it's just like when the foul was overturned, it was in okay, let's just play on, and then whatever happens, that's what happened, and then you move on because it was and
Brandon Clark was wide open. This was not a situation where the Mavericks heard a whistle and stopped playing for a second, and there's no scenario where it would have gone a different way. Ja got all the way to the rim and was wide open, not wide open. He was contested, but Ja had cleared out any Mav at the basket. So it was, you've seen the play 100 times. It hits the rim and there's a offensive player right behind it and just, grabs and puts back in one motion. But I've never seen that before. I was amazed that that's how they called it. And what are you guys looking at? You guys look scared.
Well, Tim, you and I used to shoot off 1.3G fireworks together, and it sounded like something like that just happened down here. That sounded like a 4-incher coming out of a mortar. So Tanner's on the prowl.
Good size for a firework?
Yeah.
Is that a good size for a firework?
Yes. That is. Yep. You need a license to handle one of those.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay.
By the way, gentlemen, with the loss tonight, the Mavericks, of course, are now back to 500 at 32-32. Do you want to take a guess at when the last time the Dallas Mavericks were 500 this season?
Whenever they were 0-0.
Nope.
8-8. No, they're 8-8 and 8-9, I believe. It's when they had that 4-game losing streak. It was the game before the Utah game.
It was the game. Nope. Almost though. The last time they were
the Utah game sent them. I thought the Utah game sent them to 8-9, but I might be wrong. Obviously, I am wrong.
The last time the Mavericks were 500 is after a win when they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder back on November 17th. That improved them to 7-7. They had fallen to 5-7 after the Utah loss. They beat San Antonio. Okay. And then they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was part of that 14 out of 17 stretch. But that was the last time the Mavericks were 500, way back on November 17th after what was a 121-119 win. That was the night that P.J. Washington was P.J. Oklahoma with the 27-17 that he had that night against Oklahoma City.
I knew the Utah loss was notable because it involved a 500 record. I thought that winning it would have, or I guess what I'm remembering is that if they had won it, it would have put them back at 500. And I remember saying something like, well, they're going to win tonight and they're going to be back at 500, and all these like weird losses that they just had are, like everything's going to be normal. And then they lost that game and everything seemed like it was the worst it would get all season. And it was. That was the worst moment of the entire season, and everything else has gone perfectly, swimmingly, beautifully. How many more positive adjectives do you guys want me to list?
I got none.
Sarcastically?
I can't even think of positive words right now.
Yeah. Anything else positively that you have for us before you hop off with us?
That's all I got for you guys.
All right.
As a quick thing, what are we talking about? The fan survey results on Sunday? What can fans look forward to?
Sunday. I can come back to the studio for that.
All right. So on Sunday post game, after the Phoenix game, Tim is gonna share some results and some thoughts on the fan survey that he conducted last week. It's gonna be good. So make sure you all stick around for that.
Boom. Let's do it. See y'all then.
Thanks, Tim. Have a good weekend.
That's our Mavs beat writer Tim Cato reporting live from the American Airlines Center after the Mavericks fall, unfortunately, tonight. 122-111 to the Memphis Grizzlies. John Morant using 24 of his 31 points in the second half to get the job done for Dallas. as they fall for the 4th consecutive time. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, we will be joined live by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, from the American Airlines Center with his thoughts and perspective on tonight's game. All that more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Started by 2 college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. You can check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State signs as well. Unlike traditional neon signs, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform look that you know and love. LED lasting up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your signs for years to come. They're easy to put on the wall as well with some 3M command strips as well. They are the perfect gift for the perfect sports fan in your life. So head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. Again, SaturdayNeon.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign with Saturday Neon today.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright, so you will never, ever, ever lose a drink. You're floating in the river, you're floating in a lake, you're climbing a mountain, you're camping on the side of a mountain, you're camping on a campground in Highland Village or something. Hey, they're going to stay the right side up. And unlike other heavy-duty coolers, these bad boys are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. They can fit in your car just fine. They're not going to crush stuff. You can carry them yourself up a hill, down a hill, adjacent to a hill, and they're crafted to handle the toughest environments. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Coming up in our next segment, our national NBA insider Marc Stein will be joining us here. He had to move back a segment, so he will be joining us in the final segment of our program tonight. Apparently, Ben is in line at Sonic trying to get Tanner some food.
Jeez.
You had to put some bass in your voice.
Yeah, I didn't mean for that to happen. Can I talk for a second about feeling good?
Sure.
All right. So earlier today was the NHL trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The buzzer sounded at 2 p.m. The Dallas Stars, who granted there are different rules in hockey whenever your guys get hurt, if they can go on the long-term injured reserve, and you are essentially given back their contract value toward your salary cap.
That's
so you,
an amazing
you can add players. It is really a wild rule. Now, if that happened in the NBA, the Mavs would be stacked. But that's not the case. But the Stars, instead of saying, well, we're already paying these injured players and like they're going to come back at some point, so I don't want to go out and add more salary, make this team more expensive and all that stuff. No, they just went out and got a lot of players. The same day that the Mavs traded Luka, earlier that morning, the Stars went out and got Mikael Granlund and Cody Ceci from the Vancouver Canucks. Well, not to be deterred, they went out and got more guys.
Let's go.
They got Mikko Rantanen earlier today and also rewarded him with an 8-year contract extension, paying him like one of the top 5 or top 10 most
$12 million
valuable forwards
a season,
in the league. Yeah. And they also rewarded Wyatt Johnston, their young rising star, no pun intended, with a huge contract extension himself. That is an example of going, as they called it, all in. Not like what the Cowboys did last year whenever they were all in, but like, well, it's like kind of all in. It's like we're like all of us are in. So like that's sort of all in. Not like what the Mavs are doing by trading like, one of the best players we've seen in more than 20 years for a guy that has been hurt a lot more than the guy that they traded. And now the Mavs are going to be counting ping pong balls. Dallas and Dallas sports fans like needed this vibe shift so badly. The last several months, the Rangers won the World Series in 2023, and then they had their own season from hell last year. Granted, in the hot stove league, they cooked up some stuff, and they're now like one of the favorites to come out of the AL. So maybe the Rangers are going to have a great year. But between the end of last baseball season, the entirety of the Cowboys season, and this Mavs season up until this point, it's just been a miserable, miserable time to be a sports fan here. So it's really nice to see the Stars not only turn it on and win a bunch of games, and now they're looking like they're going to be, they're going to win their division, maybe end up with the most points. Oh, they might win their division. They still got to pass Winnipeg. But at any rate, I mean, they're going for it. They're super, ultra, mega going for it. And it's really, really, I think, inspiring and exciting as a fan to see this happening. Because the Stars are like the little brother. They're like the fourth team in Dallas.
Yeah.
They generate the least revenue. Their games are available on the internet for free. You don't have to buy a fancy TV package or get any sort of cable package or anything like that. No, like you can just watch Stars games. It's pretty awesome, I think. Their tickets are the cheapest, and yet here they are spending a ton of money and going for it because they want to bring a title to Dallas. And they've also gone to the conference finals like almost every year that I've been alive.
Last few years, yeah.
Over the last 5-10 years, they've been one of the best teams in the NHL, and they said, like, that's not good enough. We want to be the best team in the NHL.
Yeah, the Stars have been knocking on the door of a Stanley Cup for a few years now, and Jim Nill, the general manager of the Dallas Stars, is putting on a masterclass on how to run an organization that is close to winning a championship and not shying away from trying to go for it. And he has done so in a way that has got the DFW area extremely excited about what the potential of the Stars team could be. And Nico Harrison, Jerry Jones, and those two individuals specifically could learn a thing or two from not only Jim Nill, honestly, but from Chris Young as well. Of course, has moved up to be the president of baseball operations when it comes to the Texas Rangers, but obviously under his leadership as general manager, bringing in Bruce Bochy, getting Corey Seager, getting Marcus Semien, understanding that he could build an organization and infrastructure that will allow these players to succeed. And it culminated, of course, in them going on one of the most incredible postseason runs in Major League Baseball history, going undefeated on the road in the postseason to win the franchise's first ever championship. That's what happens when you utilize the mentality, scared money don't make money. And when you have a chance to put your money where your mouth is, you have a chance to do something special. And it's just extremely disappointing to watch how the Mavericks and the Cowboys have decided to go about operating their particular franchises versus what the Stars and the Rangers have done, because they have done phenomenal work over the last couple of seasons. And the Stars, as of today's moves, are the betting favorite now to win the Stanley Cup. That is the kind of moves that the Stars have made to put themselves in position. And so bravo, Jim Nill. Bravo for putting on, like I said, a masterclass on how to go for it when it comes for putting together a roster and continuously going forward. Nico Harrison could definitely learn a thing or two about that.
And the rules are different in the NHL versus...
But they played by the rules and exploited the ones that they were able to be able to make the best roster possible.
No, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, the Stars are getting creative and they're doing what they need to do. But, the rules are different, but the Stars have done the two timeline thing. Like, in the NBA, it's not as easy to pull this off because they're frankly just the draft isn't as deep. There aren't enough players that are generally going to make an impact on your team the way that, sometimes there is in the NHL. And the NHL also has the benefit of an extensive minor league network, allowing these guys to play for multiple years and continue to develop before they're thrust into the pressure-packed situation of having to produce on the big team. But, the Stars were the best team in the Western Conference in 2016. They had the best record. They've been to the conference. They went to the Stanley Cup final in 2020. They went to the conference final, I think, each of the last 2 years in 2023 and 2024, maybe lost in the second round one of those years. I don't know. At any rate, though, in each of those, playoff runs, which were all 4 years apart, almost completely different teams. Every single year, they had almost completely different teams, different goalies. Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin were on all of the teams, but almost the entire team shifted. Almost all the defenders. Almost all the other forwards, again, different goalie, different coaches. I believe each of those times.
Joe Pavelski retired in the midst of that.
Yeah. And they were able to not only, continue signing quality veterans, but also draft guys. They got Miro Heiskanen in the draft in 2017, who ended up being a terrific pro. But At the end of the first round, they got Jake Ottinger, who's now their goalie. They got Jason Robertson through the draft. They got Wyatt Johnson through the draft, and they just extended him. And they have a bunch of guys on the wrong side of 30. And so I think that, again, it's not the same building a team in the NHL as it is in the NBA, but if there's one lesson that I think every NBA GM can learn from watching Jim Nill, who is the 2-time defending NHL Executive of the Year, and I believe soon to be 3-time.
He just sealed up his 3rd one today.
Yeah, I think he's going to pull off the 3-peat this year.
Yeah.
It's that you can have veterans and young players and build a program. It's not just let's get as many old players that I've heard of as possible on this team that are all American, that have all come through Nike, that have all been through Team USA stuff. In other words, people that I've met in my life that I would know that I've used on NBA 2K whenever I was a kid or whatever. You can complement age with youth. You can complement experience with potential. You can complement 30-somethings with 20-somethings. You don't have to have everybody on the one timeline, especially when that one timeline is 2 or 3 years from now, and one of those years is already out the window. So hat tip to the stars, or stick tap to the stars, I guess.
That's right.
To use a more appropriate metaphor there, because that is how you do it. That's how you do it. It was awesome to see what they did today, and I really hope it works out. I hope they're able to win a championship because Lord knows the city of Dallas deserves a title. We deserve something to root for. And hopefully, the team that the Stars share their building with can take a lesson from what they've done and hopefully apply that this summer, because this team needs a lot of work if they want to end up in a similar situation as the Stars are next year.
But you know what's funny about this discussion that we're having? Nico Harrison kind of started to do the thing.
He did.
He did that
bunch
thing.
of 25-year-olds.
He had a bunch of 25-year-olds. Then he traded for a 30-year-old in Kyrie Irving to pair with the superstar that he had. And look what happened. They went to the damn NBA Finals together in their first full year together. Like, he was doing the thing.
He was doing the thing.
He was doing that thing.
Very much so.
Then he decided enough was enough of that.
The only reason they had to get Kyrie is because the previous guy that they had that's manning that spot went to New York to make a bunch of all-NBA teams and is kicking ass for the Knicks.
I mean, for sure, but he made up for that mistake, if you will, was able to, buy the way that he was able to get Kyrie, and it worked.
Yeah, no, it did.
And it worked.
It did. It absolutely did. And then they said, actually, we don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And Nico they've done well in the draft. Jaden Hardy, I'm not sure how good of a career he's going to have, but they got him in the mid-second round. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Jaden Hardy's a pretty good mid-second round pick. Omax, we'll see, but Omax is a late first round pick. Late first round picks, hit or miss. Derek Lively, great pick. Great pick. This is a low standard, but that's way better draft success than the Mavs had over the majority of the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
Especially as a good team. It's really, really hard to hit home runs in the draft in the NBA. It's so uncertain, and there's so few immediate impact players. But they've done a pretty good job of that. But instead of continuing to do that, they traded all their picks away, and they traded a lot of their youth away. And so it's just you're putting all your eggs in the long-term basket, whereas, again, the Stars are proving it's possible to do both. It is possible to do both.
Yeah, again, shout out to the Stars, man. Like you said, injecting life into a city right now with the 4 major sports teams that desperately needed some. And all I got to say is for the Stars, go get that damn cup, okay? You've put yourself in position to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of the NHL. Go get that damn cup.
I do want to point out, Stars producer John is in the chat.
Yeah, I've ignored him.
And he's just trolling us real bad.
Yeah, I've ignored him.
John, I hope you realize I just spent 15 minutes doing a free promo for your show.
We just did a whole Stars segment.
This is how you repay us.
Yeah, go kick rocks.
This is how you repay us.
Yeah.
You should still watch the DLLS Stars podcast, despite John Anderson's own trolling.
That is the ultimate point that we're getting to. Our DLLS Stars podcast is the best hockey podcast in the game. Owen Newkirk, Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, and Sean Shapiro, the best in the game. I'm not just saying it because they're my coworkers and my teammates here. They put down a fantastic podcast, a fantastic pregame show and postgame show. They are the best in the game. And I encourage you, if you're a hockey fan, or someone who just loves sports, go watch those.
Someone who
individuals.
loves winning.
Yeah.
Someone who wants something to be excited about in Dallas sports.
Yeah, seriously. Our DLLS Stars podcast is the best in the game.
Let's go Stars.
So shout out to them. Like I said, go get that damn cup. And let's have a parade this summer. Coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, we go back out to the American Airlines Center where we welcome in our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. He'll provide his thoughts and perspective, not only on tonight's game, but obviously the injury updates for this team moving forward. All that coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
But first, shout out to everyone who has become a diehard. My computer's being really slow, so I'm struggling here and I'm stalling for time so that I can make one more click. I just want to shout out everyone who signed up to become a diehard today. Shout out to Serena, to Catherine, to Jason, to Nick, to Kay, to J-Bo, to Ryan, to Derek, to Luke, to Isaac, to David, to Lucas, different, not the same as Luke. And then Jeff also signed up to become a diehard last night, and Clint and Kimberly signed up to become yesterday. Dude, so many people are becoming diehards. It's awesome. Again, a lot of those people super fired up about the Stars. And so they want to follow what we're doing here at DLLS Sports. All of our pre-games, all of our post-games will be free on YouTube forever. We're live 5 days a week here on this channel. So if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Like the stream, be a cool member in chat and all that stuff, that'd be phenomenal. But if you want to take your support one step further, you can become a diehard by scanning the QR code, clicking the link in the description below, or going to alldlls.com/diehard, where for limited time, it's $48 to become a diehard in honor of the Rangers going to spring training. Jeff Wilson has been out there again all week and is going back again week after next to bring you the goods from Surprise, Arizona.
Surprise.
When you become a diehard, you get a free shirt, which pays for like 3/4 of the cost of the membership. You also get a discount on any other merch. Discount on any events. We got one coming up next month. You also get to read all the premium paywall written content from Tim Cato on the Mavs beat, Jeff Wilson on the Rangers, Sam and Sean that KG just shouted out on the Stars, and Clarence Hill and Joe Hoyt on the Cowboys. And you get to join the DLS Diehard Discord Lounge, and best of all, show it.
Your physical diehard card.
Flash it, your physical diehard card,
That's
folks. Right. So go ahead and take advantage of that offer if you can. Shout out to each and every single one of you who have. And, yeah, we just crossed 18,000 subs the other day, and it was awesome. Let's go for 19.
Already at over 18,200 as well when it comes to DLLS Sports. Mavericks fall 122-111 at home to the Memphis Grizzlies. John Moran scores 24 of his 31 points in the second half. Brandon Williams, 31 points on 10 of 15 shooting for your Dallas Mavericks. Not enough, despite Naji Marshall's big double-double, as well as the Mavericks is their fourth straight as they get ready to take on Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns on Sunday. Let's go back out to the American Airlines Center right now and welcome in our national NBA insider. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. Of course, he is dapper Marc Stein. Mark, what's going on?
Gents, how are we?
Pretty good.
36.
Honestly.
36. 36 days until the end of the regular season for the 2024-25 Dallas Mavericks, and it feels like it's getting longer and longer by the second because the injury list continues to get longer and longer by the second. We found out earlier that Olivier Maxence Prosper reportedly is going to be missing the rest of the regular season due to a serious wrist injury, just adding to the calamity that has been the Mavericks season thus far.
Yeah, look, I would say under the circumstances tonight, just looking specifically at tonight, that this was probably as, if you were making a script for how tonight would go, it probably would turn out this way because they played insanely hard. They got these huge games from Brandon Williams and Naji Marshall that they weren't expecting. But, ultimately they lost. And I know it sounds crazy to talk that way about a team that began this season coming off a finals run and with championship aspirations, but they are not in that place right now. And I think we would all agree. I know Tim did his segment before me, but if the four of us were together, I think at this point, if you put us in charge, that prioritizing draft position would be the way to go. And so you play as hard as you can, as well as you can with the complement of players you have. The Mavs did that tonight. It ultimately wasn't enough, and they didn't do any harm to their lottery prospects. So I think, again, based on the circumstances of the evening, that they'd probably take the way this turned out in the end.
I do want to
injury stuff. I mean, we can go through that. That's a whole nother matter. But like Corellistrator, I'm sure the Corellistrator was loving the B Will show and Naji Marshall just turning into a rebound machine. But I'm guessing Bobby was not in too much dispute with the final result.
Not at all. Not at all. But a little sober dose of reality here. Despite the Mavs taking care of business tonight in the loss column, the Blazers lost by 18 at OKC. There was no Shea. There was no Jalen Williams. There was no Cason Wallace. There was no Chad Holmgren. There was no Isaiah Hartenstein. And then also the Suns are down 12 at halftime to the Nuggets. The Spurs are down 14 at the half to the Kings. So everybody that the Mavs could really use wins from are down bigly as well. This is going to be a tough mission to pull off, I think.
Yeah, the Mavericks might just bump into the 10th spot by just sheer incompetence from the teams that are behind them anyway. I mean, we'll find out on Sunday how motivated the Suns are to try to beat the Mavericks to, somehow try to get past it by the time we get to the end of the season.
It will be fascinating theater because the Suns have won all of 4, assuming they go on to lose tonight. They've won all of 4 games since February 1st. So they are not exactly rolling. They're a team in turmoil as well. They do have the tiebreaker over your Mavs, and the Mavs will again be very shorthanded, but I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Let's get to a super chat while our guy Marc Stein is here as well, because rare opportunity to do that. From Billy with the $5 super chat. I will never name my dogs after a sports player again. My current dog is named Luca, and my old dog was named Hamilton after Josh. Love the podcast.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That is tough, though.
Damn.
That is tough.
Yeah, that's rough.
Don't cry because it's over, though. Smile because it happened.
Because it happened. Oh, jeez, Tanner.
Tanner, you gotta say that into the mic.
Microphone. Sorry, my mic was off.
Too late.
You had the pun right there. That was rough. I thought it was intentional. But
no, it wasn't. But
that's good catch,
nice.
Though. The Mavericks been catching a lot of injury this season, unfortunately. We saw the updates from the Mavericks today when it came to Anthony Davis, Derek Lively II, and Daniel Gafford as well. Your thoughts on what has been released by the team and what that means as we look at the final 36 days of the regular season for this group?
Well, look, what we've gotten from the team is the absolute minimum that we're going to get from the team. And, I think we talked about this after the Milwaukee game that, after the Milwaukee game, I really wasn't expecting. I know March 6th, March 6th is going to be this huge update on March 6th, and I didn't think it was going to be a huge update, and we got it on March 7th instead of March 6th, and it was a nominal update at best. But look, the reality is I don't think it would surprise anyone if Anthony Davis and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford didn't play again this season. But with both AD and Lively, they are stepping up their basketball work. And so if they are going to be ruled out for the rest of the season, it has not happened yet. And we were told that Davis and Lively will now be evaluated on a weekly basis. But based on everything I was told, Anthony Davis is going to start doing more on-court work. Again, that does not guarantee that he's coming back at some point this season, but they have not fully ruled him out yet. Are they trying to slow play it, delay that announcement, give it more time? I mean, you could take your pick of all those options, but it has not been ruled out yet that the three big men that their seasons are over. And, I think probably not the answer you want, but we're going to have to wait and see. But I think the notable part of the dispatch, especially in Anthony Davis's case, is he is going to be doing more on-court work. I mean, they're going to slowly but surely give him a little bit more on-court work on non-game days and see how he responds to it.
I mean, it's interesting because, to be quite frank, it would be counterproductive for any of them to play for the rest of the regular season, given where they are and what could be accomplished, if you will, by them not necessarily winning games down the stretch. So it's hard for me to believe that in the best interest of what they may be trying to achieve for the rest of the year, that they would send any of them onto the floor. I mean, unfortunately, it's happened 2 times already. Rushing Anthony Davis back the first time in a Mavericks uniform, getting injured in the third quarter. PJ Washington, who admitted during the Mavs ball to Mike Curtis of the Dallas Morning News that he came back a little too early. And, of course, is dealing with the right ankle sprain. So it feels like, in my humble opinion, the best way to go about this is y'all relax. It is what it is at this particular point of the year. And what happens, but we'll see y'all in the 26 season, fully healthy and hopefully trying to figure out how to move forward from there.
I mean, I agree that is the right play, but I think we also know that I don't know that our wishes and advice are being heeded and listened to. So I do think we're going to have to wait and see. If you ask me to make just a personal projection based on what I would, again, I'm with you. I don't understand why you would take any risk of bringing any of them back at this point, at any point in the next 5-ish weeks, because even if the Mavs get in the play-in, or even if they can't get themselves out of the play-in, however you want to look at it, they're not making a deep playoff run without Kyrie Irving. So I think we all understand that. I think deep down the Mavericks know it. And I guess, I know you guys want me to tell you exactly what's going to happen here, and we just can't yet. But in general, I am echoing what Super Kev is trying to say, that, okay, they're going to ramp up AD's on-court work, let D Live do a little bit more, but hopefully come to the conclusion that it would be best to keep both of them out for the rest of the season. I do think that is the wise play, even though you guys might be right. They might not be able to get out of the play-in. They need Phoenix or Portland to make a surge, and, you can't really ask more of the Blazers. They went down that 10-1 surge right before the All-Star game. You can't really ask them to do more than that, because they really haven't been this kind of team. And Phoenix, yeah, we're gonna see a lot. Sunday is going to be a very interesting afternoon case study, I think.
The turnaround starts on Sunday for the boys out west. Suns are turning around their season. 5 p.m. on Sunday. Be there or be square.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other team out west that, sitting second in the Western Conference. That turnaround started a long time ago.
They've already turned.
Yeah, they've turned that thing around already.
Isn't the game 2:30?
2:30.
2:30, yeah, but I'm saying when the final buzzer sounds. By the way, we're springing forward tomorrow night, so just make sure you go to bed a little early.
Oh, I'm here for it. I love that,
because we're gonna be it'll be sunny later, which is great, but we're gonna sleep for one less hour on Saturday night.
I'm glad you warned me about that, because I totally was not aware of that.
You got more things to worry about, more important things to worry about than some daylight savings time stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that.
The knife.
He was looking real dull when he got blocked by the rim before he got his redemption.
He made up for it.
Yeah, he made up for it For sure.
Rebounds, and you're going to focus on a missed dunk?
He did it. He went 29 and 17, dude.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal game. Phenomenally accomplished what the mission was tonight. Spencer Dinwiddie was real good about that too down the stretch. So congratulations. You said what?
Another missed dunk.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he went to go up to punch one, and he was like, nope. Rim was like, not tonight.
I know what I need to do. Watch this.
Watch this. Mark, it is good to see you. As always, we appreciate your time and your reporting. We will talk to you this weekend here on DLLS Sports. Enjoy your weekend, sir.
All right, guys. Talk soon.
Bye, Mark.
It's our National NBA insider, Marc Stein, going to join us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. That'll do it for us here on our show this evening. We really appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good. As always, we will be back here on Sunday for the DLLS Mavs pregame show, which will kick off at 1:45 p.m. With game time at 2:30 as the Dallas Mavericks will look to snap their 4-game losing streak as they welcome in Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns.
I know that we have to go quickly, but can I hit you with one trivia question?
Oh, okay, sure.
So tonight, Brandon Williams had 31 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds.
Okay.
Can you name me the last 3 Mavericks, not named Luka or Kyrie, that have done that? And I will give you a hint. Jalen Brunson is not one of them.
To have at least 30 points,
31 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds.
5 rebounds.
Chat, feel free to play along, but no cheating.
Okay. And over how many years?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
I just gave you one hint.
Okay, and it's not Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson is not in that group.
Let's go with 36 and 5. Damn. Kristaps Porzingis.
Incorrect.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Jason Terry.
Incorrect.
Luke says Tim Hardaway Jr.
Luke?
Oh, yeah, I went way too far back.
Ball knower.
Oh, okay.
Luke and B-Boys.
Wow. Tim Hardaway Jr. is one of them.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is the most recent one, not named Luka or Kyrie. He did it April 1st, 2023 in Miami. That was a crazy
insane.
game by
Didn't he have
Tim.
like 40 that night?
He had 31.
Oh.
11 of 15 from the floor.
Dinwiddie.
Wow.
Tanner says Dinwiddie. Tanner got one.
Yes.
Spencer Dinwiddie, 36 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds, January 26, 2023, in the Mavs' 99-95 win at Phoenix. Luka got hurt like 3 minutes into that game, and Dinwiddie just completely went off. Dwight Powell got the game-sealing rebound off a missed free throw over DeAndre Ayton.
Wow. So we have Tim Hardaway Jr. and Spencer Dinwiddie. Yeah, I would have never got either one of those two. Other guests we have coming in: Jason Kidd, Rolando Blackman,
Monte Ellis, Derek Harper, Dennis Smith Jr. No, all incorrect. All incorrect.
Dirk.
Incorrect.
Wow.
I'll give you one more guess.
Not even Dirk?
Well, the most recent one. Dirk did that, but
okay.
Parsons.
Incorrect.
Oh, that's a good guess.
That is a good guess, though.
Josh Howard.
Incorrect.
Sean Marion.
The correct answer is
Yogi Ferrell.
Kemba Walker.
Wow.
32 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds.
Oh. Did he do that against Cleveland?
December 17th, 2022, in an overtime loss at Cleveland.
Yeah, I remember he went off that night.
Yeah,
We was like,
had a chance. I think he had a chance to win the game.
He did.
Right at the buzzer or something. The Mavs, that was the front end of a back-to-back. The next night, the Mavs were in Chicago, got rolled.
God, walked.
I actually
Dog walked that
filled
night.
in as pre- and post-game host on the Freak.
For me.
For that. And no, that was
before me?
It was right. It was like very pre-you. I think your debut was like the next game.
Okay.
Yeah. Mavs legend, Kemba Walker.
Damn.
And then JB was the one right before. So that's why I said it. He didn't count.
Okay. Mavericks legend Kemba Walker. That's insane.
So Brandon Williams joined that illustrious group.
That is where we are in our Mavericks season. Kemba Walker trivia. Again, thanks to our guy Tanner for making us look good and sound good. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato and our National NBA insider Marc Stein for both reporting. live from the American Airlines Center. Again, we will be back on Sunday afternoon at 1:45 p.m. for the DLLS Mavs pregame show with tip-off at 2:30 as the Mavericks take on Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns in a race
Big one.
to the bottom.
It's a big one.
We'll see who can get there first on Sunday. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Curla. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you on Sunday right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.